Like, I'm done with people feeling shitty about themselves. I want them to be able to tell them their story the way they want to tell their story, no matter
Yeah.
what. So,
Yeah.
one
I
question.
am so I'm just sick of people getting diagnosed and the doctor going, here's a big list of things that you're shit at. And I'm like,
Right.
are we allowed to swear on here? uh,
Oh yes. Oh yes. I fucking cuss every 5 fucking seconds, so it's fine. Um,
I've got a messy house, but I cured cancer. Why are we focusing on my messy house?
right. I knew this would be amazing. So, Joe, I would love for you to tell your ADHD story the way you want to tell it. Self-diagnosed, diagnosed by a doctor, medications, all that. It doesn't even matter. Whatever you want to say, say.
Oh, there's so many. Okay, it's going to come out in a jumble because that's how it
That
comes out. So,
that's this
my
podcast.
yeah, I was told my entire life, my high school teachers, like, oh my God, will you go talk to a doctor or something? Like, you are. And I thought it was a joke. Um, Turns out maybe not. But they're like, will you please get medicated? My high school science teacher said, can you please take Valium before coming into my class? Um, I was your very stereotypical ADHD kid, but I was a girl, so no one no one diagnoses that. But
No,
I
they
was your
don't.
stereotypical boy symptoms. I had the boy symptoms of let me bounce off the walls, let me disrupt everyone. I finished my work, so I'm going to start balancing on the back two legs of my chair until I fall over and crack my head on the desk behind me once or twice. But it was very stereotypical. But you're female. We don't really diagnose you people. So then it wasn't till I was mid-20s
So
and I was getting all the same comments from my son's teachers. Will you please go get him assessed? He was in kindergarten and I said, he's not bored. He's smart. Oh, no, sorry. He's not. Well, because again, I didn't know what ADHD was because in the
right.
90s, it was Bart Simpson. It was the kid that drank red
Yeah.
cordial. You just had to fix their diet or a shitty parenting. And so when my son was little, I'm like, he's not ADHD. Like, these are all normal traits, normal in my family. Um,
Exactly. The internet is again just doing this. Like the audio is perfect, so we're gonna keep going with this. It's so weird. It's so like it's this, that, the other, which will make for a fun podcast. But fuck it, let's just do it. I think the reason that girls are not diagnosed with ADHD is because it's the 12-year-old boy's syndrome, right? Like it's the like I'm the stereotypical ADHD kid, right? But what about the girls that
I was the stereotypical boy type, and they still like it. It's a girl.
that's so ridiculous.
And then also my parents, I mean, the 90s were really bad for diagnosing, even boys, because it was just like, oh no, she's shitty parenting, or it's just that they're drinking too much. Red cordial was the devil. Um, uh, they just need to go on a better diet. And I'm like, you know what? A better diet does help ADHDers, but you're still ADHD. It doesn't change your brain wiring.
No,
It just makes you feel better in your body, so you are less whatever.
yeah,
But yeah, so the 90s were bad for diagnosing. And then they also just stuck every single kid that wouldn't behave on medication. That was another thing that's where you got a lot of backlash with ADHD in the 90s.
yep.
I don't know if it's the same in America, but
It was. It absolutely
yeah.
was.
Yeah. So my son in kindy, the teacher was saying all the same things, and finally we went to see a psychiatrist, and then I'm filling in the thing, and I'm like, I do that. Oh, I do that. I do that. Like, oh, okay. So basically, like most middle-aged women, I got diagnosed when my son did. Or not middle, I wasn't middle-aged at the time, but most women, I got diagnosed at the same time as my son.
Right.
Um, and then I went on medication for a bit. We ended up homeschooling because reasons. We ended up homeschooling. I went on medication for a bit, and then I'm like, look, I do feel really good on medication. I feel really calm. I didn't even realize that I didn't feel calm until I was on the medication. I'm like, this everything's really quiet in my. Is this normal? Like this is feels
Yeah,
quiet.
I uh oh, that's so right because it's all this. I get so much shit for like, oh, you take X and X milligrams of a stimulant. I'm like, fuckers, this is what I need to sleep. Like it's not a stimulant to me. Like this is
And when they go, it's so addictive. It's really addictive. I'm like, why did I forget to take it then?
right, right. I asked my wife this morning, I'm like, did I take my medication? She goes, you're not awake yet. So no, you didn't. And also, you have that little thing that I bought you, the day-to-day, medication. You take it. If that day is empty, you've taken your medication. And that's a struggle for me every day. But the thing is, like, what they I'm so glad to talk to you about this because it's like we just get crippled by other people thinking that we are not good at what we do. Yes.
No, way, don't get me wrong. We can be a bit, like
Oh,
all extremes.
we're terrible in a certain sense. Yeah.
We're the best and worst of society.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But I would rather take the risk on the best at what actually matters than
we're often the experts.
Yeah. That's why we make great leaders. So wherever you are right now,
So we're just going to record sitting on the stairs. Is that what we do? We just sit like this the whole time.
Actually, it's crystal clear. I don't know why. Okay, welcome back, everybody. My internet sucks. Hers probably sucks too, but whatever. We do it. So back to your story and your journey with ADHD.
Wait. So diagnosed because my son got diagnosed, because that's how women get diagnosed nowadays. Yes, I had the meds for a while, and then I'm like, as quiet as it was up here, I'm like, this is really nice.
Yeah.
I found as they wore off, I felt shittier than before, and I'm like, this is not working for me. And then sometimes as well, the meds didn't work at all because again, we only ever study men for everything, and so the meds work for men. And a lot of women find that at one point in their cycle, the meds stop working because the meds help.
Really?
Yeah, the meds are actually more effective when your estrogen is high. So right before the end of your cycle, when your estrogen drops, it doesn't work. And they don't tell you that, by the way. So you just have to work it out.
Unbelievable.
Some doctors, some doctors will tell you.
The screen is freezing again. I don't understand this.
We just keep walking. I'll try out the back. Let's see what happens out the back.
This will literally be the greatest episode of all time because of these internet issues. Like,
you all get to see my house.
Oh no, I'll edit that out. I send it to you first before, so that you can approve it, because I'm not going to put anything online that you don't want to be. But yeah, now it's all jumpy and all that again.
We've just got to keep walking around the house. We'll just have a nice. We won't distract everyone by walking around my house.
Like right now is perfect. Like it.
I'm gonna see if I can sit, and it's like a baby. If you sit down, it starts to cry.
I love it. Actually, yes, this is perfect.
No, it's fine. It's fine. We got the air guard on now. It's fine.
Okay, welcome back again. This is to the most ADHD episode of all time, which is awesome. Continuing with your story.
Continuing the story. So I hated the feeling of the meds wearing off, and I'm like, why am I taking these anyway? And so I just stopped. Apparently, you're supposed to wean yourself off them, but my bad. So I just stopped taking them. I'm like, I don't currently have a lifestyle that requires me to have them, and so I stopped taking them. And I was fine. I'm like, I'd lived this long without them. I'm fine. And then I still had them there for if I was having a rough day, if the anxiety's really spiked, I've got them there if I need them.
Right.
So I will take them occasionally, if I remember to. But I fast forward a whole bunch of years. I got a corporate job, 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. I was not coping at all, and I had to go back. I'm like,
that can't.
Yeah,
So
it
how
was.
did you approach a corporate job? Because I've had one job my entire life, and it was
I'm more
because
like Homer Simpson. I've got 20 jobs my entire life.
and it's because I told my boss, I go, if you don't let me do this my way, I'm going to be the worst employee you've ever had in your life. If you
Yeah.
actually allow me to create a structure for myself that works, I'll be the best
Mm-hmm.
you have ever fucking seen ever. And
Mm-hmm.
he actually took a leap and said, you know what? I'll let you do it your way. And
Yeah.
that's that was 18 years ago.
That's
Like,
awesome. Wow, that's really good for that long ago. No one
yeah,
said yes that long ago. What did you do?
yeah, right. That's the thing. So I had to find something that I loved, which was sports, which is why this meeting was late and all the internet connections and all that is because I had to monitor this basketball game that the team that I worked for
Yeah.
was doing, and we lost by 1 point in overtime. But that's okay. I'm fine. But I honestly, I woke up in college one day like drunk and hungover, and I was like, "What the fuck are you doing, Lobau, with your life? Like, you're too smart to be like." eh,
I thought that
eh,
so many times. You're too smart to be this dumb. What's going on?
right, and I was like, "Oh wait, there's a stadium of a team that I love a mile down the road. Get your fucking ass up there and ask if you can volunteer." Finally, they let me volunteer. And
That's
that
awesome.
was 18 to 20 years ago. And then now I have a staff of a lot of people, and the rest is history. I've only had one job my whole life.
That's awesome. Well, see, again, being
And
female, I had to stop with there's kids involved, and then you have to
right.
have the mum's job, work around kids.
Yeah,
Um,
I had the benefit of not having the kids initially, so I could dog it to death, and whatnot.
yeah.
I get that. But it's so fascinating to me when you unleash someone with ADHD. They will be the best you have ever seen in your life. It's the problem
Mhm.
is the distractions of so I like to go to work a little bit early and then because I don't have to talk to anyone. What
I love talking to people, but if I start talking, it's game over. Like you've distracted me now.
right, but the thing is most people they go to work and they figure out a way to sit around the water cooler and talk and
Hmm,
gossip and do all this bullshit. Meanwhile, I just want to go do the goddamn job. I'm done by noon every day.
nice,
Like
nice.
I go in early and then I'm like, by the way, y'all can gossip all you want. I'm going home. I'm gonna do the podcast now. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
So
ADHD is they say that statistically speaking, we're 300% more likely to start our own businesses because nine to
yeah,
five is like prison. It's just it
it,
feels so stifling.
because it is like that's my God. My mom was so great in this. She recognized. See, this is my privilege: is that I was diagnosed at age 5,
Wow.
and I have had all of this time to figure this out, whether it's a strategy, medication, whatever. And
Yeah.
I'm 41 now. I know I look 90, but I'm 41 now. And it's it's interesting because from age 5 to age 20, I hated medication. Hated it.
Mm.
And to the point where like my mom would give it to me and then I would crumple it up in the toast. I'm like, I don't eat breakfast. So
Yeah.
this is easy. So I crumple it up in the toast, take it underneath the house and bury it. One day, the dog found all of these Ritalin pills. It, the dog didn't eat them. It was just
Okay.
my mom goes,
The dog was super focused and dug holes all day.
best dog of all time. I can tell you. No, but all of a sudden, my mom's like, "Why do you refuse this so much?" And I go, I don't like the idea that I have to take a pill to be functional."
Yeah.
And and I hated that. Like I hate that. But
Mm.
then
I mean, no hate on people that feel like they need to do that. Like if that's
no,
where they're at,
I
cool. But I hated that idea too. I'm like, I don't need to take medication to
Yeah.
function. Some
Yeah.
people do, but I don't think it's not
Well,
the answer every time.
for me, it is necessary. And like that's the whole thing is like I think we get into this aspect of it's this person doesn't like medication. So if I don't believe in medication, then they suck. And this person believes in medication, so they suck. You know, all this bullshit. Unless you get to know the person with this
Mm.
condition, you have no chance of understanding what will work for them.
Mm-hmm. I've
So
I've
why,
got people.
so why not
I've known
talk?
friends who I've known friends who are fully functional adults, really successful in their career because again, that was their hyper focus for the longest time. They were
Right?
amazing. And then they didn't get diagnosed till like late 30s. And all of a sudden, like they took medication. And all of a sudden, oh, look at that. Their drinking
Yeah.
problem went away. They're not as
Interesting
exhausted.
how that works, isn't it?
Yeah. And they're like, they've been able to function this long. And not like
Yeah.
they're an alcoholic, but there was definitely more drinking than an average person. Um,
It's the stimulant.
and they
It's
just
the
feel so much more
stimulant.
calm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
It's
they're classically
there's so after all
and they're
these,
binge eating. All these little niggling things went away, which aren't going to kill you, but certainly take away a little bit of quality of life. Like if you're drinking a lot every night, you're gonna put on weight. You're gonna feel shitty in the morning. You're gonna be exhausted during the day, and
yeah.
yeah, like they're just and
It,
and also the depression, the low level depression for some that some get, like that went away.
yes.
Yeah,
Yes. The low level depression absolutely went away when I started taking medication. And
I'm more the anxiety side, and I'm like it makes me feel really calm. But sometimes I really like the not calm. I really like being hyper. So
Lobau Spark has started a fundraising effort for Crisis Text Line. We have a goal of $19 per episode, as $19 supports just one person in their time of absolute crisis with their mental health. If you would like to donate to our fundraiser titled Lauren's Infinity, the link is listed in the episode's description. Lauren was my wife's best friend and loved by all who came into contact with her.
I
Oh
really
my
enjoyed
God.
it.
Thank you. Thank you. God damn it. Thank you. Finally, someone understands. I like to be
Like when people
excited.
like take medication and calm down, I'm like, you take medication and hype up, damn it. Like, have a coffee. Bounce with me
Oh my
here.
God. This is the reason that I work in sports, is because it is down to the wire every single fucking game. And I'm like completely calm during it. And then there's 90,000 people screaming and yelling. I'm like, okay, I can deal with this. I like this. You know, when it's even keel, I can't function. Like when it's an even scenario to where it's boring,
Yes.
I can't handle boring to the point of pain.
Yeah.
Like I just
Yeah.
can't. Is that do you
No, I totally understand. It's just it I was gonna say it feels painful, which is what you just said. It's just so I'm using every ounce of my energy to just concentrate. It's like if
I
you do
know.
not have memes in that work presentation, I'm not paying attention. If you don't tell jokes, like
Yeah.
I'm
I
glad that the millennials are running the show now because we're just far better at presentations.
Yes. Oh God. Oh Jesus. Yes. Uh,
Oh,
what I'm so happy with is this has been 7 minutes of a good internet connection. So I'm great with this right now. This is, by the way, punching bag in the background. Is that
yes,
you or is that your
both. I'm a second degree black belt in Hapkido, and then
don't
I
piss
also help teach kiddos.
don't piss you off. Okay, got it.
People are
But
like, "What are you doing Friday?" I'm like, "I'm going to teach small children violence. I'm sorry I can't come."
no, and I'm sorry this is so sporadic, but this is just kind of how this goes. The thing is, it's I have talked to maybe 100 at this point, people with ADHD, and I can tell you this in full confidence. Not one of them is not the most incredible person I've ever met. And that's my whole premise for doing this.
I
I just don't get
Yeah.
it. I don't get it.
My biggest thing, the
I,
two biggest things that really shit me with ADHD is, number one, we are prone to a lot of self-destructive behaviors.
yeah.
And the second one, and like, because we get bored and we're like, you know what, I'm going to jump off this cliff with just a parachute and see what happens. Like it's, but if people were taught to understand their brain right from the start, because the second thing that shits me is you're only told how shit you are.
Yeah.
If you were taught to understand your brain from the start, you wouldn't be doing these I mean, you probably still would, don't get me wrong, but you'd be doing them in a far more controlled way. You'd be doing them
Right.
from a better place of understanding. You would be like, hey, I'm not going to develop a drinking habit. I'm going to develop a running habit instead. Like or you know.
Oh my God, that's so good. That's so good.
You need the dopamine. And you know what? A really easy way to get dopamine is to have a drink. Another really easy, but slightly harder, because I got to go for the couch, way to create dopamine is go for a run or lift something or play Beat Saber. It doesn't need to be boring. You just need to move.
So you actually explained why I chop firewood every day. That's
Nice.
my escape. Is I need a result every day of something. And if I'm shit and I'm tired, if I chop one log, I see a result. There's one more log on the wood stack.
Nice.
So that you literally just explained that. Yes, so why I do that. I'm like, say again.
I used to come home from school and just shoot hoops from the moment I got home from school, maybe 3:30 till like 6 o'clock at dinner. So like 3 hours a day, I'm just sitting there shooting hoops because it calmed my brain or whatever. I didn't consciously know what I was doing at the time. I was just shooting hoops. And you wonder why I was better than everyone at basketball. So I shoot hoops for 3 hours a day.
But yeah, it frustrates me because my wife's friend thought she was shit all the time. And I don't understand why society brings this in as a like, oh yes, you did this wrong, you did this wrong, you did this wrong. Well, yeah, we did, but also, good Lord.
Who cares? Like, there's clothes next to my bed. Who cares?
Right.
Like, why do you care?
Why is that, do you think, that they like just harp on this small shit?
I guess it makes them feel good that they're good at it. It makes them feel better that they're good at something.
I have met the person I need to talk to every week.
I mean, some people get so mad when you tell them you're not disabled, you're just different. And I find it's very big in America that there's a lot of shame around it. Like there's a lot of shame
here.
It's not the same in Australia. It's just,
well, it was interesting. I went on my honeymoon to Australia and then to New Zealand for my honeymoon 8 years ago. And when we landed, I had a note from the doctor for my medication. I researched all this kind of shit. And and the guy looks at the paper and he goes, psychiatry? And I'm like, whatever gets me to take the medication is fine. And he goes, you may pass. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm good. Then I went skydiving in New Zealand, had an amazing honeymoon. It's not like that here. Like,
yeah,
it's sad.
you guys are really uptight about
everything.
Like they talk about. I remember once going to a talk actually, and someone was talking about the stigma of ADHD, and they got really emotional and upset. And I'm sitting there watching, going, "What stigma?" Just what are you talking about?
I'm so happy, Joe, to meet someone that understands this, like, to the point of, and yes, there are horrible things that I do wrong. Finances, number one. I am horrible with finances. That is why my wife is great at finances. And I'm like, you're in charge. Do it. She handles it. She tells me this, that, and the other. I'm great. But she also allows me to be in charge of the things I'm great at.
Yeah.
So it's like characteristic thing that we have to understand is that some people are better at this, some people are better at that. Unless you're a fucking team, then you're gonna lose.
Yeah. And it's just,
It's just so easy. Like I
and
don't understand why this is so hard for people to understand.
the other thing that I find really
I,
a lot of ADHD struggle with, and understandably so, much like all the research in the world is based around men, it's also based around neurotypicals. So when we
yeah,
get given these pro tips and this is how things should be done and this is blah, 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 it's all neurotypical advice and it doesn't work for us. And then we get really frustrated, really angry, really like, I'm such an idiot. Why can't I do this? Because it wasn't built for us. Like where they're like, you need to eat the frog. You need like you do the hardest thing first. That's not going to work for us. Like if I look at that hard thing, go, I need to do that first. I'm not going to do anything. You need to put away one dish first. And if you feel like putting away a second one, go for it. You don't need to clean the whole lounge room.
thank God the world isn't changed by how many dishes you put up. It's changed by what you give to this world. And we give a shit ton. The dishes can fucking wait. I'm sorry. Like they can wait.
And I mean, there's no moral weight on your dishes. You're not a bad person because you got a dirty kitchen. I mean, worst case scenario, if you really, really, really can't cope with dishes, hire a maid. Like it's not that hard. Or use paper plates. Who cares?
Oh, paper plates. You stole that from me. I love that. Every time I
get Uber Eats. Eat straight out of the plastic container and stick it in the bin. Like
because it's so easy.
I love plastic. I mean, obviously I've still got to wash it, but I love plastic plates. I love plastic cups because when I'm done with it, I can hurl it across the room. It doesn't break. Or I can stick it on the ground, and when I put my foot down later on the ground, accidentally kick it over, it doesn't break. I love plastic.
That's so good. And we have totally ignored the reason for this podcast, which is you. So if you would like to tell the rest of your story now, that'd be great.
Story's been speckled in there. My biggest calling, I guess you could say, as far as ADHD and why I'm on social media and all the rest is because you go on Reddit, and Reddit is largely an American platform. I generally assume
what is Reddit again? Is that like the whole?
Reddit was for the longest time, it probably still is, known as the front page of the internet. And there is subreddits, which is basically think of anything in the world that you want to know about, and there is a subreddit for it. And you go to the fishing subreddit, the ADHD subreddit, the knitting, the crochet, the purple one, if you want to see purple things, etc. You think of anything, there's a subreddit for it. You go to the purple subreddit and you can just see a whole bunch of purple things. Or you can see a whole bunch of fishing advice. You can see a whole bunch of crochet stuff. You can see a whole bunch of colorful, whatever you want. So it is text and videos and pictures. It's kind of like,
the thing is, I'm so technologically like inept, and but I just plug in headphones like these and talk to people. So that's it. And so I don't know what Reddit is or whatever, but that makes sense.
You go on the ADHD and autistic ones on Reddit, and it is all woe is me. Oh, my life is so hard. My life sucks. I'm an idiot. I should just kill myself, etc. And I'm like, dude. And whenever I say anything positive in there, I made an account, and my favorite Joe account, and I started to say, no, this, you're not just like that. You've also got all the, I get downvoted to hell. Like they hate it. They get really angry. And I'm like, you are not all these terrible things. Like, like I just.
Why do people get so mad over positivity?
I understand that there are challenges. That I'm not.
They're huge challenges.
But it doesn't mean that there's not good. And it's the same. But we normalize challenges for neurotypicals. Like my ongoing joke that they can't do maths. There's a lot of truth to that joke. But there's calculators everywhere. And you can just Google how to do a percentage. You can just put the percentage straight into Google. It'll do it for you because it's normalized. They can't do maths. And there is even the idea maths is hard. Everyone understands maths is hard. Why don't they understand dishes is hard? Like, why don't they understand that cleaning your house is that normal? It's normal for percentages to hard. It's not normal for your dishes to be hard. And I'm just like, neurotypical challenges are completely normalized, and they are saying this is the default, and anything from default is wrong or weird or abnormal. And I understand the default, but even if we keep this as the default, the part that drives me insane is the only things they tell us are our challenges. And I'm like, when I describe neurotypicals like that, guess what? They get really pissed off. They get really pissed off. And you know what? When I describe neurotypicals like that, they sound shit. When I say ADHD is normal, and then I say neurotypicals, oh geez, if everything ADHD is normal, neurotypicals are really lethargic. They don't have much energy. They can't focus on anything for very long at all. They can only really go at a moderate pace. They're not real bright. They're never the experts at anything.
It's called NNBD, normally boring disorder. It's basically what I label neurotypical.
I call it neurotypical spectrum disorder. But like, they're never passionate about anything. They seem depressed. They're never real passionate. They don't have any hobby. They can't be bothered. They can't be bothered to pick up hobbies. They're just so lazy.
I've noticed that. It's literally the exact opposite of what you would think. They are struggling in their relationships, their marriages, they're this, they're that. And I'm like, but it's because you're not creative enough to stay in bed with the same person for fucking 10 years. Like,
guess who created the cute community? It wasn't them.
Get fucking creative, motherfucker. Do it. They don't understand how powerful that can be. And then they say, oh, woe is me because, but look at the ADHD person. I can't stand it. I can't stand this negativity. I can't. And that's it, because people are dying because of this negativity.
And it's not dying. They're feeling depressed. They're feeling anxious. They're not creeping because we are taught to do everything the neurotypical way. And that doesn't work for us because our brains are not wired like this.
Right. And it's just a different way of looking at shit.
And it's different enough that we don't cope with some of the normal crap. It's just
and guess who are the ultimate most successful people? The CEOs. They said, fuck you, I'm doing it my way, and all of a sudden they're the CEO of a company. All of a sudden the world's most successful people have what we do.
We have, I mean, even like we've got Simone Biles, we've got Michael Phelps, we've got
Simone
Michael
Biles.
Jordan,
and
people are going to turn around and go, no, we're depressed losers. I'm like, are you going to say that to Michael Jordan?
See what happens there.
Are you going to say that to Michael Phelps, the most decorated Olympian of all time?
Right.
Like, and the greatest basketballer of all time, the greatest gymnast of all time. Like, these are not one-offs. I made a few videos where I'm like,
I love this.
Let's support the neurotypicals. Let's give the, and you know what? It's actually really hard, and I'm not joking. It makes me sound like a dickhead, but it is really hard to find super successful neurotypicals. I started Googling some of my favorite people.
It absolutely is.
It's hard to find them in successful circles. I had to dig, and I found 6, and you know what? Someone actually pointed out, no, you found 5. That one's not neurotypical. I'm like, shit.
Oh my God.
I'm not even sure. I'm not convinced that the 5 are.
But how many of those people Googled the ADHD success, people? You at least took the time to research. Okay, maybe there are some successful people without our fucked up ADHD brains. You took the time to do this. They didn't. That's
and the other thing I see in successful, I'm like, the other ones where they're like, oh look, I'm not ADHD and I'm really successful. I'm like, I think you're undiagnosed more than not.
well, yeah, because it's like, what are the characteristics of the most successful people? I went against the grain. I didn't care what anyone else thought. I did it my way. I found something that worked, and now I'm a CEO.
That's right. We have a good friend, and he tells us that we work with, and he's like, I've got 6 businesses, and I work with Mardi Gras. I am straight, but I work with the Mardi Gras doing all this stuff, and they all invite me to all the parties because I'm the life of the party. And the guy, and he never answers emails, and he never answers calls, and he
Yeah,
gets back a week later, and all and he's like, people tell me all the time I should get checked for ADHD. I'm like, mm-hmm. He's like, I'm not ADHD though. I'm like, mm-hmm.
you know, it's so funny. I got to tell one story before I ask you the last question. Is so my mom, she literally noticed something was a little bit off because I kept knocking over pictures when I was 5 and couldn't stay focused on anything, whatever. She goes, yeah, you're gonna go to the doctor. And that's my I, again, it's having loving parents that get you to that scenario to where, and she goes, I want you to wear a Superman cape to school every day. And I go, well, but the dress code is this. She goes,
Okay.
I don't give a shit what the dress code is. They will send you home
Yeah.
every day. You put that cape back on and you go back up there. And I'm like, whoa, okay, okay,
That
mom, I
are gonna
love
see
you.
you.
Say it. Here, wait, say
The
again.
kids are like, why the hell are you wearing a cape?
Yeah, I just took it off yesterday, but like it was, it's,
I like
but
to wear it in bed. Baby,
honestly,
prepare yourself.
she was like, look, everyone is going to say that you're doing everything wrong. So I'm just going to give it a little bit of fun. Wear a Superman cape. You
Yeah,
have my permission to do this. And I'm like,
yeah.
okay. So I show up at Superman cape in kindergarten. And they're like, this isn't the dress code. Go home. My mom goes, okay, maybe they didn't understand that as much. Let's button it up a little bit and make it more present. Go back up there. Like every day for years.
Someone's mom sounds a bit ADHD.
Actually,
Creative.
actually, she is so neurotypical. She just loved me. Like that
Yeah,
was the whole thing. She's like, I can't do what you do, so go up and tell them how much better you are than me.
yeah. Wow.
And so that's kind of my advantage, but not a lot of people have that. And that's kind of my purpose. And I clench my fist when I say this is like it could only be an advantage when you have friends and family that support what you do well.
Hmm.
And if you don't have that, then it becomes the downward momentum. ADHD is based on momentum, in my opinion. It's, hey, I did this well, I did this well, I did this well. If people are congratulating you on those things step by step by step, you're doing this.
Hmm.
If people come in and say, you suck, you suck, you suck, it does this.
That's not true for everybody.
Eh, I,
Like whatever you focus on gets
right,
better or worse.
right.
Yeah.
That's my whole point. it's
And you
it's
need to be aware to look for the good. Our good's not going to be the same good as the other.
exactly. Exactly. So,
They just like to focus on that 5-year-old boy won't sit still. And you're like, that
oh my
5-year-old boy
God.
also has the vocabulary of a 12-year-old. Like,
Well, and also it's eh, you rip on I was terrible in school, failed every class on purpose because I reached
hmm,
out to relationships. I like people a lot,
hmm,
and it was more important to me to fail math class and go to lunch with a friend that now have to this day than it was to get an A in math. I didn't care how
yeah,
much I was held back because that friend is still here to this day supporting me in what I'm doing. So it's more of an emotional thing for me. But
yeah.
some people aren't like that. Uh, it, mm, I I have a great group of friends, a great wife, a great family. Why? Because they gave me a goddamn chance.
Because they went, you're really good at X, Y, Z. I like that.
They gave me a chance to
Hmm.
do it my way. And when they gave me the chance, all of a sudden, I was really successful. Big surprise. Anyways, Joe, I love you to death. One last question, and this is kind of a hard question, is what are you most proud of in your life? Now, this cannot be, this is the hardest question anyway, but I have to ask it. It cannot be finding your spouse, having kids, whatever. What characteristic within you are you the most proud of? We don't talk about it enough.
I would say that, and when I realized this, I had tears in my eyes when I realized it. It was probably a few years ago. I realized I'm just sitting there playing Beat Saber. Beat Saber sort of puts me in the zone. Like I'm just sitting there listening to good music, moving, and my brain just gets to wander, meditative. And I realized a few years ago that if little Joe saw Joe today, I would think that I was the fucking coolest adult I have ever met in my entire life. I'm like,
oh my God, that is so sick. That is the sickest answer I've ever had from anyone.
I would look at me and go, check out your rainbow hair, your rainbow clothes. You've got a Rottweiler. You're a software engineer. You've got a black belt, and you've got rainbow dinosaur tattoos. Because little Joe was told, don't be like that. Oh, and I rode a motorbike. Little Joe was told, don't be like those people that ride motorbikes, that have colored hair, that have tattoos. Like, don't be like them. They're dangerous. Stay away from them.
Right.
But if I saw me as a kid, just be like, that's the coolest fucking adult I've ever seen. Oh my
God. That actually is damn, Joe. That was perfect. I love that beyond belief, because I feel the same way. I just have never said it. Like, if I was a kid and I look at myself now, I'm going, that's a badass motherfucker. It is time once again to recognize the biggest supporters of this podcast. Lobau Spark is proudly supported by Leo Guinan, Kirk Hofstrom, Casey Elliott, Sarah Delano, Justin Allingham, Blushing Crafter, Jamie Young, and Beth Jones. It is now also supported by 13 anonymous supporters. And I understand that, because I can curse and all that kind of shit. I get it. If you want to support this podcast anonymously, you are free to do so. It's totally fine. But this does not exist without you. And I love you.
That's right. That's so annoying. I should have left the laptop here.
And you're good to go now. That's
good to go. Okay.
Yeah.
We're talking about, and yeah, it's one of the greatest things I found with TikTok is so many of us are talking about the little things, because when you read the DS, not you're meant to read them, but when you read what is ADHD, if you Google what does it look like, you would never guess that it looks like I mean, okay, maybe you would, but I mean, a lot of people would never guess it's them, because it's clinical. It's not,
yes.
Hey, I always put the same way. It's, I can't do the dishes. It's not, we don't sleep very well.
All that bullshit is not what it is. Those are symptoms. If you're a 5-year-old boy, it's a symptom. Yes. Okay. But forgive me if I can't sit still in math class because I'm bored as fuck and I'm 12 years old and I'm a guy. Okay. This is the problem, is that women are not diagnosed as much as men. That is an issue.
I mean, the big one that really annoys me when it comes to a lot of women's diagnoses is they're like, oh, boys don't sit still. I'm like, yes, because boys don't sit still. And so when you have ADHD, you really don't sit still. And I'm like, and girls talk. So when we have ADHD, we really talk. Like, it just makes you aware of what you are. And I'm like, I'm not a boy. So, I mean, I didn't sit still, but as I said, my symptoms are more boy-like. But most girls, it's the one that won't shut up. It's not the one that won't sit still. It's the one that's motor mouth. Those things.
That is true. But at the end of the day, the only good part about that scenario is that if you get diagnosed as a girl, you probably have it because we are overdiagnosed. Y'all are underdiagnosed. So the only positive I can dwell from that is if you get diagnosed as a girl, you might damn sure have it. Like, because they have taken the
when I
time
went
to go through the
when I
proper
went to
steps.
talk to the doctor, he said we were filling out the thing. I said, I think I might be. This is the start. I'm like, I think I might be maybe ADHD. I'm not real sure. It might be, mildly. And
Right.
he went through the thing. He's like, there is nothing mild about it. You are off the chart on nearly every single thing. I'm like, okay.
I was actually so proud when they told me that. It was like, you are just not right. And I'm like, excellent. Because everyone that I know that is not right wins.
Actually, my diagnosis, oh my God, I actually cracked it with the doctor. He's like, here, we're going to, first of all, it's a 3-month waiting list or something, and at the time, which is still short
Jeez.
compared to some. But I'm like, you got to be kidding. So anyway, he sends me an email. He goes, I need you to print this out and bring it with you. And I'm like, what? And then I look at the email, it's 20 pages long. He goes, I need you to print it out, fill it out, and bring it with you. I'm like, you want me to I have to download the email, put it on USB stick, drive to Officeworks, print it out, fill out 20 pages of stuff, and then remember to bring it with me? Are you fucking kidding? Do you know who you're diagnosing?
Right.
It's like asking a crippled walk upstairs.
Yeah. And that's it's fine. And that's the whole thing is that's the test to them is can you read the 20 pages that came in? Well, no, motherfucker. So what are you trying to do? Are you trying to further cripple me? Or how about this? How about 3 goddamn sentences that I can understand and then diagnose me then? Diagnose me then.
I emailed them back. I emailed them back going, you got to be kidding me. And they went, how about you just fill it out and email it back? I'm like, okay.
So
it's just stupid.
And your Wi-Fi is going out again, but it's fine. It's fine. At the end of the day, you're a badass. So am I. So are a lot of people with ADHD. Fuck it.
Yeah. And just more fun to hang out with. My ADHD friends, we go rock climbing with, we go geocaching with, we go to the beach. My other friends.
Thank you. I went skydiving 3 days into my honeymoon in New Zealand, and my wife's like, "So you've been married like 3 days? You're jumping out of a plane?" I'm like, "Welcome to ADHD." Like that's, that's I don't know. I think we're exciting people. That's my whole thing. I just think that the world tells us we're not, and it could be very catastrophic for a lot of people to think that they're not exciting. And so
force yourself into a very beige box.
So
beige
that's
is my least favorite color. I don't see how people are like, oh my God, I've got some beige pants. Aren't they beautiful? I'm like, it looks like you're naked. You might as well be naked. Why is beige your favorite color? Like, it's not a color, it's a lack of color. Beige is the color I am if I'm wearing literally nothing.
What is beige? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me.
It's pasty white skin tone. It's I don't know what. I remember seeing a comment on Facebook when a girl I used to go to school with, she's all dressed in beige, and one of the comments was, "Oh my God, babe, you look so Kardashian." She's like, "Oh my God, thanks, babe." I'm like, that's offensive.
Oh my God.
He's so pissed if someone said, "Oh my God, babe, you look so Kardashian." I'm like, oh. But she took it as a compliment.
Well, that's great. That's a good thing. Yeah, it's just I want to help so bad, but I'm not great at like understanding a lot of things other than the fact that like I fucking love you and I will do anything for you any day of the week. And a lot of ADHD people do that. So what the fuck is the goddamn problem? Big surprise. We are the best leaders. Why is that? Because we give a fuck about the person. We don't care because caring is because caring works. We care because we actually give a damn.
Because I feel bad if you feel bad. Like,
Right.
how is that? But on the list of, I know it's more an autistic trait, but on the list where they go, you guys are terrible at empathy. I'm like, no, we're not.
Terrible empathy. Who the
Yeah.
fuck said that?
Oh, it's just, I'm like, I cry if you upset my teddy bear, like a literal teddy bear. You are like, I'm sorry, I lack empathy. I think that's a little bit too much empathy.
I am 41 years old. I have a stuffed alligator that I sleep with every night. And I'm like, hey, Mr. Alligator, good night, good night. I'm the most empathetic human. That actually made me cry, what you said right there. Like that's because it's true. But that's the type of people you want in charge, is the person that doesn't hire people because of, oh, you know this or you know that. Fuck that. You
I
get
can learn that.
right.
Yeah.
Everything is learnable.
Mm.
But when you give a shit about that person, they will soar beyond their highest expectations. And uh, you got me riled up. I'll be up till 4 a.m. tomorrow. this, this will be good.